We have a time and a place for what could be one of the most historic summits between world leaders. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, face to face in Alaska on Friday, with the future of the war in Ukraine on the line. Good evening to you. I'm Natasha Zuves, and thank you for joining us for the special edition of News Nation Ukraine on the front lines. This is certainly a critical moment in a war that has lasted more than 3.5 years. Over the next hour, we are going to lay out for you what's at stake with this upcoming summit, how Ukraine has 3.5 years, and the weapons that army has been able to master to hold its own against a major Russian army. My News Nation colleague Robert Sherman has been deeply embedded, speaking with the people and the fighters of Ukraine. He is joining us live from Kyiv for this special coverage tonight. Robert, good evening to you.
Hey there, Natasha. Greetings from Kyiv, Ukraine, a city which has withstood the test of time for more than 1,500 years. But over the last 3.5, this city has been bombed, it has been besieged, at times surrounded, and the threats exist here practically every night. And while the Ukrainians have been able to hold the line against Russia to this point, that dark cloud of uncertainty is rather thick this evening because people have no idea what the next chapter in their country's history holds, and they have no idea what is coming out of Alaska next Friday. And what makes this even more complicated is that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy at this hour does not have an invitation to Alaska. Now, that could all change over the next couple of days, as our own Libbey has been reporting. It seems as though that there's the possibility of an invite being extended. But at this juncture, Ukrainians are not going to be at the negotiating table. And when you hear President Trump in recent days talking about what it would take to get a deal across the finish line, the swapping of territories, well, that is what has Ukrainians concerned. The prospect of giving up land that they believe is theirs in exchange for land that they also believe is theirs. That's why they want to negotiate this. But on the other hand, President Trump believes there's a window of opportunity here, one that he would like to seize, fresh off of securing a peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And he's hoping that this sit down with Russian President Vladimir Putin can possibly put them on course for some kind of a ceasefire or a peace agreement. It is a consequential next few days. This is a campaign promise for the president. And quite literally, Natasha, what happens in the next few weeks could quite likely define the geopolitical landscape for the foreseeable future. So much to discuss here this evening. This high-stakes conversation set to take place in Alaska. The response from Kyiv, the way they're currently digging their heels in, saying they're not interested in giving up territory. And of course, we'll be taking you inside this new era of warfare, how the Ukrainians have totally changed the landscape and attempting to answer the question, is the United States ready for this next chapter of warfare? Natasha.
Yeah, I cannot wait for you to introduce us to this all-female unit called the Witches of Bucha in Ukraine, tasked with downing these Russian drones. I know we're going to get to so much more of Robert Sherman's exclusive reporting tonight, but first, quickly, we want to bring in News Nation's White House correspondent Libbey live on the latest developments. Libbey, it is rare to see Vladimir Putin coming here to U.S. soil.
Incredibly rare, Natasha, for that development. But also we're learning these other major developments out of the White House tonight. An official telling me that President Trump is weighing whether or not he wants to invite Zelenskyy to this summit that he has planned with Putin Friday in Alaska. We could see that bilateral turn into a trilateral. And that high-profile meeting, of course, a major move by Trump to try and secure the end to this war in Ukraine. And this visit by Putin is actually his first to America since he launched Russia's attack on Ukraine. But this isn't the first face-to-face meeting that we've seen between Trump and Putin. It's actually the 7th. And ahead of this meeting, the president is not only setting these expectations, but he's also setting these potential conditions on who will get what. You just heard Robert outlining that as well. Let's listen to the president.
You're looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years. We're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
So Vice President J.D. Vance also holding high-stakes meetings of his own today with Ukrainian officials. A U.S. official telling News Nation that this hours-long meeting that happened behind closed doors involved American, Ukrainian, and European officials, and that it produced significant progress toward ending the war. So a high-stakes meeting for the vice president, but that high-stakes meeting on Friday between Putin and Trump, of course, one that the world will be watching. And there's so many questions heading into this. What does Vladimir Putin ultimately want? What will President Zelenskyy be willing to give up, if there's anything he's willing to give up, whether that's territory or not? And how will President Trump get these two leaders to end Europe's longest war since World War II? We'll see if this bilateral becomes a trilateral, Natasha.
Yeah, we will see. Libby Dean, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.